what's up guys, it's Mark Yoon, and today I'm bringing another hopefully exciting video. So what I have for you today is the community video for this Friday, where we had our video talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly of the SOULCALIBUR VI creation engine for Create a Soul. I asked for your comments and I got them en masse. I want to thank you everyone who commented, and I hope you see your comment up here. I didn't include the responses because this video would be like 9 million years long if I did that. So I just actually am going to read aloud the comments because that's what you guys asked for in the comment section, and I'm going to do so by your initial comments. The other video that I asked you guys to leave comments on about the specific modes and things that you would like to see in future iterations of the game, or what were your favorite modes from previous iterations of SOULCALIBUR, that's going to be on next Friday's video, so expect to see that there. This is just going to cover the good, the bad, and the ugly compared to the SOULCALIBUR creation engine. With that being said, let's just jump right back into it, guys. Roxas3 Sora XXX says, They ruined the color palette system to the point where you can't get shades of pale colors that are on clothing and accessories by default. The lobby system on ranked is terrible. I run into high tier players when I'm not even that high in RP, but get matched with 15,000 to 45,000. I should be able to choose what lobby I go to in casual matches. It was in the previous game, so there's no reason why it's not here. I have a massive amount of SP to spend in the game, and why would you add currency if there's no use for it? They did a nasty job at sticker placement in this game. Why do I see lines where stickers are placed? SOULCALIBUR V did not have this, and it makes me feel like this game was poorly made compared to its predecessor. A personal gripe of mine, in Libra of Souls there's a very juicy character creation area, and it's not used for actual creation. It's also not a stage. I would have to say I would agree with all of these points. I haven't gotten too far in Libra of Souls, so I can't comment on that. I am going to go back and finish it and then give my thoughts on the whole mode as a whole, just to put it out there. The SP thing was also very weird. There's just like certain random creation tools that are locked behind like SP, and you have to spend that. Otherwise, the SP is used mainly for unlocking stuff in the gallery itself. So I believe if you go to the gallery, you can see like a bunch of like the old music and old stuff from other SOULCALIBUR games and whatnot, and I think that's what you use it for. I'm not sure if you ventured into there, but I did notice that there's a lot of currency spending stuff in there. But as far as the main game goes, without like bonus content, I definitely agree with you. Alright, we're going to move on. Just to the Reptile says, I have pros and cons for create a character in SOULCALIBUR VI. Pros: the race selection, new stuff gets added, new features like adding a green screen for video editing. Cons: limited armor access for some of the races, i.e. chest armor, not all available for lizardmen, which is weird since you fight lizardmen who have chest armor in Libra of Souls. That's what we were just talking about. A lot of missing parts from previous games. To your pros, I would mostly agree with these, but the race selection could have been a feature in SOULCALIBUR, but I believe they ruined it by locking certain characters with different features. Like there's certain versions or varieties of humans that literally just have horns or wings, and it's no different from another human, but you should be able to just have horns and wings and adjust them however you want on the characters, like you could do in 5. So they kind of locked you into that, and that kind of like totally took me out of using any of those races ever. The lizards, like you said, you can barely put anything on them, so they're kind of pointless to even be there in the first place. As far as new stuff getting added, I would say it does, but most of it's all stuff that we already bought and paid for in previous games. Now, if you haven't like played 4 or 5, then, or bought any of the DLC, then like this is great for you because it's all new stuff. But for a lot of us who are returning players, this is like stuff we've already had. Like, in fact, because there's no bare-fisted fighting style in this game yet, hopefully they add one in Season 3, and I'll give my thoughts on that in another video next week. But since they don't have that, I can't create a lot of the characters that I want to create, because you're not going to have certain characters that never use those weapon styles, like using the weapon styles just because. Like, I'm not going to have Superman using, like, a sword. It just doesn't make sense. Your cons, I agree with all of them. Alright, so we're going to move on to the next one. And we have Metal Raptor, which, by the way, Metal Raptor is also a YouTuber, so I would highly recommend you checking out his YouTube channel. You can probably click on his profile in the comment section of that video so you can go see him. Steve was kind enough to provide me with the background gameplay that you see right now. This is from Everybody's Golf and from Code Vein, who have two excellent creation engines, just to show like an example of what can be done and what you can actually utilize in other games that we can, you know, use in Soul Calibur in the future if they try to implement any of these features, which is why I have it playing in the background. So if you were wondering about that, that's the reason. He starts with, here are my thoughts on the good. 100 character slots, that's great because we had 50 in Soul Calibur 5. The ability to share characters, kinda, could use some improvements. They added some features to the viewer, but they also retracted a lot of features in the process. They fixed the audio distortion problem when changing pitch. This was a big issue with Soul Calibur 5. Yeah, basically if you try to change like to go higher pitch or lower pitch with any character that's not off the base 0 input, then you're gonna sound like a hollowified hollow from like Bleach, pretty much. It just automatically gave you mega distortion no matter which way you went on the scale. They added the ability to increase the slider movement when editing objects. I'd have to make a video to cover all the bad, but thank you. You already did most of that, what I would say anyway. On a side note, I've been thinking of doing a video comparing Soul Calibur 6's creation engine to that of Code Vein, but I'd have to make up a list of things to go over before I could do that. So you guys should go check out his channel. If he sends me a link to his channel, I will put it in my description box. If not, you just need to go to my comments and click on his profile picture, and you should be able to go right to his page. Alright, thanks again, Steve. Alright, and we have David Kings now with his response. Okay, reading the comments, I can safely say that most has been mentioned already. Definitely this is one of the best creators in video games. Despite some issues, you're allowed to do a lot of marvels, but the number of pieces, no DLC, is a joke. And it's infuriating how they're milking most of the equipment through DLC. I agree. And some of the last content hasn't been that good either. The race system was a good idea in theory, but poorly executed. I 100% agree. My real issue with the Creator Soul is that technically there's not much to do here with them. Soul Calibur 3 had Chronicles of the Sword and Soul Arena, and Soul Calibur 4 had the Tower of Lost Souls, and Soul Calibur 5 had Quick Battle. Yes, it did. And I'm going to mention this again in next week's Friday video too, just to let you know, Dave. Going on, he says, but Soul Calibur 6 has Libra of Souls, a mode that allows you to create just one character for the entire run. So what's the point of the diversity of the races? We can only use one single character in the mode that is supposed to be dedicated to them. And to be honest, I don't find Libra of Souls like a mode with much replayability. It has a lot of wasted potential. Even now you can find in YouTube recent playthroughs of Chronicles of the Sword. I am almost sure that Libra of Souls won't have the same luck as time goes on. I don't even know if nowadays there are people who still play it. You can take them to rank, but even there are issues. Again, the toxic online competitive community, some of them, not all, that is always complaining about something, throws hate because how dare you use Creative Souls in ranked. While it is true that some of them abuse them to hide their movements, but what's mostly done is hacks and PC, not consoles. There are others that just complain because they are Creative Souls and nothing more. With the ranked issue, yeah, you can put stuff to cover like your movements. So if you're like a character who watches movements to be a defensive player, then obviously that's going to be bad for them. But I think it's actually worse for the Creative Soul characters because a lot of them, when you're adjusting their height or their weight, their arm length and their leg length is affected by that. So using certain weapons, there's like a prime height and weight category that they're used for. And if you like veer anywhere off that beaten path, then you're straight up going to be at a disadvantage because you might not be able to land some moves or attacks based on the frames that you usually would be able to. So I'd actually say the Creative Souls being in ranked is actually better for the people using like regular characters because they're going to have an advantage of knowing exactly what to do with that character. He goes on. So technically there's no place in bare-bone games like Soul Calibur 6 to make good use of them, except for staring at them. For me, this is a true disappointment, a lot of wasted potential. I use mine mainly when I'm fighting with friends and stuff like that. That's the main thing that I use mine for. And it's pointless to use them in arcade or anything because you're not going to get an ending. Like I know a lot of previous games they would make up an ending for like using that style or something, but this one they don't do that. Solar Flare says, it's definitely a mixed bag for sure. On one hand, some pretty cool stuff that you can do. On the other, there's a lot of stuff you mentioned, such as the clipping, size ratios, sticker limitations, There are also the races, and while I think they're a cool idea, some of them have allowed me to create some pretty damn cool stuff in my opinion. Their execution leaves a lot to be desired. For example, the Outcasts and the Lost Wing Souled Horned are literally just the regular humans with 1 or 2 odds and ends slapped on. That's what I pretty much just said before. I mean, if you're going to introduce a concept like this, you should go all out with it. Again, the races are a nice idea, and some of them, like the Shapeshifters, Darksiders, Automatons, and Mutated Malfesteds, are pretty cool in my opinion. You can tell there were some cut corners for sure, and there are a lot of weird things too, such as not all races having gender selection, not being able to change race. Those 3 things in particular grind my gears. Speaking of grinding my gears, I also hate when you make a really cool creation and their stuff gets broken in the first round. It's so annoying. I really wish they would let us either turn that off completely, or just let us choose what gets broken off or not. Oh, and you don't even get me started on the DLC, because the whole thing's a mess in its own right. First off, why are we getting so little in these recent creation packs, when the ones in Season 1 had like 50 plus items each? What the hell happened? Did they take on creation packs and decide to split it into 4s or something? Oh, and the fact that the most recent pack, they gave us items that we already had with slight modifications is infuriating. It wouldn't be too much if they were part of a free update, but no. They made us pay for that stuff. Ugh. It's also why I don't mind it so much that they're giving us free stuff from past games. Although it's a bit annoying, I agree. My main issue is that all the stuff they're giving us feels so random. For example, they gave us a piece of Cervantes' past costumes, and that's it. Just one piece. It seriously feels like they're trying to put a bunch of things into that hat, and they're just pulling things out randomly. It's so weird. One last thing. Why wasn't all the stuff from SOULCALIBUR V already in the game? I'm no game designer or anything, but I'm pretty sure porting over or making creation items takes less time and resources than making an entire character would. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Sorry if it's a little incoherent and messy. Well, I agree with most of it, so I wouldn't say it's incoherent or messy at all, Matt. Yeah, you would think that since they're using the same creation engine, or the same engine in general, Project Soul would have been able to easily port over the stuff from 5 into 6. 6 really doesn't look that much better than 5 when like, you're being honest. It's taking, a 1080i image and upgrading it to, like, a 1080p image, and they're not even really, like, changing or modifying anything, because they're almost exactly the same. They certainly didn't build any of these things from the ground up, so they should have just been able to port them over. But I heard there were corners cut with this game because of releasing, but that is a Bandai Namco issue, not a Project Soul. They're probably forcing them to get it out by a certain time slot because they put out a lot of games. So when they scheduled it, they probably stuck to that schedule, and if you didn't stick the landing, Project Soul, that's on you, even though they don't have a large budget, but whatever, we're going to move on. Emerald Dragonblade says, I cannot disagree with you on the limitations, because that one pisses me off the most. Well, thank you. I think limitations is one of the biggest downfalls of this system, especially with the sticker limitation and the placement limitations. It's ridiculous. Crimson Knight 20 says, it's a mixed bag for me. I like the different race thing, but needs more stuff, and less restrictions on pieces and gender neutrality. Darkblade Assassin says, in a way, it's restrictive. Items conflict with each other even when they could work with each other. Too many items conflict, reducing the creativity of the player. Items clip through each other or through characters, like how the belts and folds clip through Lizardman characters at the base of their tails. This clipping can be distracting at times and annoying, but there is some good clipping too. Like how the design of the Silver Gauntlet clips through 2 sets of pauldrons in a good way and adds to the design of the pauldrons. There are no female Lizardmen. That's annoying. No female fully transformed Malfested. Just some of these races don't have females, which is stupid. No new or realistic tail designs to move with the characters and are just stiff as planks, and you can't alter them either. No new weapons or past weapons in the weapon selection, which is stupid. No returning guest characters either. You can't switch arm or shoulder single pieces, equipment to place on, which is stupid as well, especially when the character has a weapon on that hand or not on that hand. You can't switch one-hand weapons to be used with. And some wings are also stiff as plank and don't move. They can be altered. They can't be altered either, and they are special equipment, and they get broken. It's stupid. No new voices or past voices from previous games. SOULCALIBUR IV had good villain voices. Hardly any Lizardman armor as well is stupid. Items float in a ridiculous way and do not conform to the body or other equipment. There's a stupid gap between the character and the item, which makes it unsightly. That's what I was talking about with the capes. I think it's made for you to have that on with certain armor, which is why I don't know why they don't let you adjust like the height or the width or whatever like they do with all the accessories, because that would take care of that problem easily. Add editing tools on most of the items. No, not all the items must be accessible to be edited. Can't add a space for the names for some reason either. Character intros during matches are the same 2 boring intros every time you get to a new match. Whatever happened to Soul Calibur 2 to 4 intros? Each match had a great character with a different intro for each match. And I agree with that also. I also miss how you used to be able to press a button so that, like, before the match even starts, they'd be able to say, like, whatever they wanted. Like, let's say in Soul Calibur 2, you choose spawn, and you, like, press X, you'd be like, suffer. It's just, like, little cool, nuanced stuff like that that added a lot of detail to the game, which they took out since 3, and I don't know why they did it. Patriots1112 says, every creation DLC should have new pieces and a bunch of the new stuff that's already in past games, like 200 parts of it as a DLC. This pack had, like, what, 48 pieces, I think it was? That's a joke. Another thought I had to edit. You make this great creation, then the first round of the fight, boom, it gets broken off, and you're in your underwear. I always hated the equipment breaking. That is another piece that Matt talked about that I wanted to go over again. There needs to be a toggle for equipment breaking in the game. Like, if it's not going to be in this one, at least in the next one. Just, like, toggle on or off whether your equipment can be broken or it can't be broken. This, like, it happens a lot. Like, I have a bunch of different characters that are, like, solely contingent on the fact that they look the way they look. And once you, like, break any of them, they just look ridiculous. Such as, like, my Daredevil or my Batman. Once the ears are gone, they're just, like, red dudes running around in pajamas. It's, like, it's really weird and strange. There is a lot of good to it, but as you can see from the community, you guys also agree with me that there's a lot of bad with it as well. There's a lot more things I'm going to be covering with Soul Calibur now that the game's been out for a while and I can fully get into it. I believe next week we're going to be covering different aspects of the actual story. We already covered the modes, but we're going to be covering a lot of different stuff. Like, I'm going to specifically talk about Libra of Souls once I beat it. We're going to talk about weapons, which is a main one. And there's a lot more that we're going to get into, so I hope I see you guys next time. Thanks for checking out the video. Thanks for leaving comments. As always, guys, stay awesome. Keep commenting. Keep liking. Thanks.